Welcome back. I have been getting correspondence from our fascist regime here in Canada, which we laughingly call a democratic parliamentary system. I've been under attack now by our Revenue Canada agency. They claim that I owe them 2,000 and something now, 2,200 and some bucks, and it's all compounded interest, and it's been owed to them since the year 2008. I have asked for a tax hearing. Tax hearing has been disallowed. They will not allow it. That's what fascist systems do. And you'll discover that, and I've gone through this before, that when you get to the courtrooms of Canada, all the judges that you speak to were politically appointed. Not one judge in Canada has ever been asked to answer a question by a member of the public about their credentials. It has never happened in the history of this country. Never. In fact, our very first Prime Minister ordered the assassination of Louis Riel. It was a personal order. And the Royal Canadian Mounted Police carried out the assassination. The remains of Louis Riel are somewhere. Historically speaking, in Canada, in our history classes in schools, they never discuss it. It's glossed over really quick, really fast. However, Louis Riel doesn't go away. Louis Riel is a contributor to the foundation of this country, and he was executed. In my opinion, he was assassinated. So the government doesn't like these kind of things. We started on that foot. I just want to tell you about this revenue woman. She's from Moncton, New Brunswick. She's an Acadian woman. And she accuses me in her letters to me. She says, they tell me this about you, they tell me that about you. Every time I have written to this woman, and Justin Trudeau really likes women. He's really, really big on women. She has never quoted what I have said, nor has she ever tried to validate any of the documents I've sent to her. She only wants to talk about her department, revenue agents, and what they're saying about me, without giving me any credit at all. It just, you say this, you say that. In fact, this is ridiculous. They say that I have claimed a business loss of more than $2 million. In fact, it's 7 digits long. And then at the end of the sentence, she says, well, this may be a keystroke error. How do I make a 7-digit? If you put in the commas, 2, I mean, that's 9, right? Actually, 10 plus 2 zeros. They put 10, so whatever we're at now. 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. I made 12 keystroke errors, and I did it consistently. I did not report that. I used an online, secure tax reporting service. I've used it for a few years now. It's never been a problem. But Revenue Canada decided they're going to hunt me now because I want my 578 bucks back, which they stole from me years ago now, and they have destroyed all documents that pertain to it. Everything has been destroyed. I guarantee you this is true. When the government of Canada has a document that shows the innocence of the people of Canada to the allegations made against them by the Crown, the government quickly destroys it. I even got a letter back from Revenue, it was Human Resources Development, and they say that at the end of every hearing, they destroy all the documents. It is their policy. Fantastic, isn't it? But perfect for a dictatorship. Wonderful. There's a poor woman in Nova Scotia, Canada, who's losing her house. She's won this battle with Revenue Canada 3 times, yet they have destroyed all of the documents. They destroy people, and they are paid, they call it performance bonuses in Canada. This woman from Moncton, New Brunswick, she has a very long Acadian French name. The Acadians speak a dialect of French that's very old. It's like trying to speak Old English. It's from before 1700, and it hasn't changed any that I'm aware of, except they've added quite a few English words into their language. However, let's go on. Let's not get stuck there. But it's a very frustrating experience where I live in Canada trying to find justice, and then when you find justice, you finally convince the Crown that you're innocent, and the Crown says, okay, you're innocent. The next year, the Crown says, well, we don't have any documents now. I don't know what we did with them all. They were here a minute ago. The cat ate it, or something else ate it. It's ridiculous in this country. It's totally, totally ridiculous. Here's a good example. Justin Trudeau, our Prime Minister, he was on television recently talking about protecting workers of Canada. I worked in Fort McMurray. I was making a very good buck there. My employer, his name is Carl Ward. He owns Ward Hydraulics. I worked for him. And he took an hour and a half every day of my pay away from me, claiming that instead of working 12 and a half hours, I only worked 10. Now that extra 2.5 hours a day was all at double time. And that's big bucks for him because he's charging us out at about $160 a day, an hour So when it gets to be double time and a half, it's like $500, let's say. And there were 12 employees that he could get this money from. He had been doing it for many years. So I protested. I worked for him for 4 months. I worked 6 days a week, 12 and a half hour days. We have a time card machine, timestamps, right? So there's backup documents, right? So anyway, we get into an awful push shove, and I took some time off, for which he fired me. But I had to have time off because I was going crazy about all this time missing. And he's taking all the money. He's a millionaire many times over, as you can imagine. Justin Trudeau says he protects workers. He does not. He does not. I went through the provincial program in Alberta, and the woman that I spoke to, another woman, of course, she says he has destroyed everything. She says, it's even difficult for me to explain that you ever actually worked there. Now, isn't that interesting? My employer destroyed all my time cards, and that's not illegal to do in Canada. Justin Trudeau says he protects us. He does not. Justin Trudeau doesn't have a job. The only job Justin Trudeau ever had, he beat up people in a bar. That's what he used to do. And now when he's on TV, he's got fake eyebrows on. Sometimes they fell off. Sometimes they droop down. He's a, this fake news thing we're all living through right now, it's kind of like that, I suppose. Anyway, Justin Trudeau says we're protected, and we are not. In the end, I wrote a letter of complaint to the Minister for Employment Canada, and it was a man, and he wrote me back. He said, I have investigated this, and I'm sorry to report that there are no laws in Canada that can account for it. The laws of Canada say an employer can do anything they want to their employees. If the employer is going to destroy all your time cards, all your documents, they do it. And the government of Canada condones it, even encourages it. Because as Brian Mulroney, another former Prime Minister, used to say, Canada is open for business. He looked like Nikita Khrushchev. He used to pound his fists on the desk. Canada is open for business. That's right. But the workers of Canada get screwed by their companies that they work for. And we cannot protect ourselves. We can't protect our ability to make a living in Canada. There is no law that allows us. I have tried this. I have gone to the court here on 4 occasions. The judge keeps kicking the can down the road. The judges of Canada don't want to have to deal with the law. In fact, they even sent me a letter once. A judge sent me a letter and says, I don't want to have to deal with the law. Well, why are you there? He's there because a politician gave him the job. Now there's 46,000 cases unheard in Canada. Judges refuse to hear them. Beverly Ann McLaughlin, who didn't study law, she studied philosophy, became the top judge in Canada. 6 years of philosophy. 6, and became the top judge. How the hell do you do that? Only Canada would do that, mostly because she's a woman. She keeps saying that too. It's because I'm a woman, it's because I'm a woman. Well, if women want to be equal to men, I think she should have been booted out of there a long time ago. Treat her equally to a man. I can tell you this, if a woman wants equality to the man, they're not going to like it. Hey, I've been trying to get paid. They keep destroying all my documents. Who wants to live like that? Who? That's Canada for you, and it's going around the world now. In fact, Beverly Ann McLaughlin said, our Canadian system of justice is a model for the rest of the world. A model. Who in the world doesn't want to be able to protect themselves? If you want a system of justice where you cannot protect yourself from the abuses of your government, take the Canadian legal system. Take it. You'll be very happy with it. Generalissimos, dictators of all sorts. In fact, Justin Trudeau's father, his name is Pierre Trudeau, he was a big fan of the dictators of the world. He really liked Mao Zedong. In fact, he even went to visit him. I don't know if he actually got an audience. He might have. But he went to China during the revolution when time was going on. Pierre Trudeau was born in like 1917 or something. But he really liked the dictators. And in Cuba, Castro, he was a big fan of Castro. He used to sing the praises of Castro. He even tried to paddle a canoe from Florida, Key West, Florida, to Cuba. And he got stopped by the American Coast Guard. Now that must have been an interesting experience, you know. Pierre Trudeau is a Frenchman, and they like to sing this song, you know, Alouette, Jean Alouette, Alouette, Jean de Plumeray. Anyway, he's on his way to Florida in a canoe, paddling, singing this song. And then he hears a tremendous blast of a horn. And there it is, a city made out of steel, which says U period S period Coast Guard. Well, that must have been a bit of a shock. I bet that would put you to put down your red bottle of red wine while you are paddling your way to Cuba to see Castro. So anyway, they pick him up, get his canoe, get his bottle of wine, do a trace on him, find out who he is. He's a rich kid from Canada, made all his money in oil, Alberta oil. In fact, a bit of a irony in this country because Pierre Trudeau hated Alberta. Justin Trudeau hates Alberta. Jean Chrétien, all these prime ministers we've had from Quebec, they all have one thing in common. They hate Alberta, but they owe their wealth to that province. Pierre Trudeau's family made their money on Alberta oil. They're oil men. Justin Trudeau is an oil man. As you see him trying to promote the pipelines, he is a major shareholder of Petro-Canada, the state-owned government. Well, it used to be state-owned. They've sold it off a bit, but he's a major shareholder. It's a lot of money for him. Even though he hates Alberta, he loves that oil. I got to get going. Running out. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm going to keep reporting on fascism and the dictatorships that are growing around this world. You know, we're being fed all this fake news and false representations of people who shouldn't be there. We have this interesting situation in Canada. One of our provinces has never signed the Constitution. Technically speaking, it's not a part of Canada, yet it provides Canada with most of its prime ministers, which really, technically speaking, cannot sit in that office until their province signs it. Justin Trudeau should be spending all of his time trying to get Quebec to sign the Constitution of Canada. Toodly-doo, everybody. Have fun. I hope all are well. Goodbye.